Okay, I'm going to share in this video my philosophy, or what I have learned on Earth so far. This part came to me, I'm doing this deliberately, it was difficult over the last years, I guess, but it refines itself. So basically a pyramid is a mountain, and there are some pyramid structures not so much under mountains, but not so much under mountains, but this is also resonance, it's energy, it's not just a structure, that have been built or constructed in highly advanced ways. But that's funny, I would say that is the heart. So I guess that would be the heart, wouldn't it? So recently I've become aware of just different layers of how to observe how society at this time on the earth is organized, or just how it functions, because how it functions is how it's organized. And I know people think of this concept of, or they're programmed into this false concept of this is just an interpretation. It's just in a way it's a propaganda of how there is this controlling elite. This is the world and they're up there. But what I see, when I see things, I see them in dreams, or they just come into my mind, I just see it. I see it visually, like the way it gets explained to me, and I see it visually. So it doesn't, I don't rationalize it and figure it all out. It just comes to me, and I just like see it, and I go like, okay, that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I think it doesn't make sense. So here, that's the pyramid. That would be like the way society functions. This would be a kind of visual representation, but the way I understand it, although I'm an artist, and the way I understand it is I'm a tech geek, so I understand it in terms of technology. Basically is electric current flow. And this here is the body of society. This would just be this is the support system, right? This is this is the body of society. And this is just the model, the pyramid is the mountain, and we are coming into the Chinese New Year. That's the brown earth dog, and the brown earth dog represents the mountain amongst many things. So this is structure. And here there isn't one single, all these this is the top of the pyramid that is apparently superior to or controlling this, the body, the general body, the mass of the earth, or the mass of, this represents everything, the creatures on the earth, as well as humans. It represents resources, the sea, the oceans, structures. This is the body of resources in society, because society is equal to the resources, rivers, oceans, fish, power supply resources, energy. Humans don't exist in isolation. They are the sum and total of the entire spectrum of what they can make use of in order to live, in order to survive. But I'm going to go into that later. What I want to look at here is the top area, and that is the layers. That this is layered. This is not one whole. This area here is layered into fractions. So this would be the 1% of wealth, resources, the extraction of resources to that point. And then these are just varying percentages of who owns what and where they stand within that sort of mini area on top. And this area is not unified, so they're all packing out on each other as to level of wealth and who can be part of it, and whether they're falling out or not. There's a conflict here, right? There is actual conflict, and that's actually a big part of the problem, on top of a whole load of other problems, right? There's a conflict here. And this area is also in conflict, without harmony, within itself, as well as this larger ratio of conflict. Hope this makes sense. But what I want to say in this video is that this part depends on all of this. To try and take the whole resource, if you imagine this is the entire resource of the wealth of humans is the wealth of the earth, right? Obviously, right? You can't have, if there's a disaster and nothing grows, or there's always darkness or whatever, it's going to be very difficult to extract, to make use of wealth. And so the wealth includes the shelters, the homes that people have, the electric current that keeps everything alive, the lighting, the heating, the ability to make tools. A knife is a tool. You can't cook without knives unless you use obsidian. And it's completely ridiculous to imagine that you would extract all of this up there, because look at it, the dimensions. This is what I mean by I'm a tech geek, that I know and understand electric current flow, Qi, Jing, Qi, life force energy, electrons, all of that, and other forms of electric current flow that we don't yet understand, we haven't identified. But just simply, in the most simplest way, if this flow that I'm drawing represents the entire resource of the body of humans, the mass of people that make things, that create wealth, or that extract wealth, or that they build, they make things happen in terms of physical body, and also they consume, and that's really this consumption model. It is in here too. They consume, and so then all the fiat money, or the financial resources are extracted from the activity, and the activity is a current, right? You can't function without electric current. So the activity is, I'm showing here, is a current, and in this drawing I'm showing the dimensions. It's absolutely, totally insane and ridiculous to imagine that you can transfer that there, right? So there you're going against universal laws, balance, the laws of physics, the laws of matter. And this part, generally, the people just live, and they kind of just mostly just either struggle to survive, or it's incarnation on earth as an entertainment. But in terms of balance, harmony, or just in terms of just basic, you cannot transfer that up there, because otherwise you wouldn't need this, right? You wouldn't need this. Wait, I'll show. This here could just be a little, it could just be a little self-contained unit on its own. Just up there it is. Doesn't need all this. And if that were true, there'd probably be peace on earth, because then this could just exist on its own, with its own illusions and desires, and then the rest could just get on with it. But it's not the way things work. It's somehow set out electrically that this does not exist on its own, and it's just simply part of that. And this also can be interpreted as a horse. Okay? This can be interpreted as a horse. As a horse. And in terms of energy, the head of the horse, is the top of the pyramid, and the body of the horse is the rest. This is the body of the horse. So if the body of the how can the whole body of the horse, the whole functioning structure of the horse cannot be extracted to that? So any attempt to do so is going to destroy the horse. And the head of the horse is part of the body, so it's going to destroy the body and the head. So somewhere in all of this is a number of people. They represent the heart, or they're inside the heart. Their function is the heart. This part is never looked at. They go, oh, the top, the head, the rulers, the eye, all of this. And I was wondering, okay, are we all stuck down here, just a big mass, and there's no communication? Because here there's incredible amount of intelligence on different levels of just ordinary people. And is there just really no communication between the body of the horse and the head? And yes, then, and I was thinking, like, 'cause I was seeing this for days in my mind, and as I was walking back in the rain, I was thinking, yeah, but where would there be a communication? Where would there be a point to warn? Because if the head is extracting all resources, then the body's going to get sick. The body dies, the head dies. So what would be the point to say, okay, something has to change, or the danger, or to warn, or to know, and that's the heart. And that is, there are people on the earth who represent the heart, okay? And they're the ones who say, well, they're the ones who, you could say they mediate, or they're the heart is also spiritual. Well, this is the spiritual, but I'll go into that in another video. But to say, okay, the body's dying, or the body's in danger, or some level of communication between the head and the body, the head of the horse and the body of the horse. The body does some work, the head is the navigator. So something which has to say, okay, things are not working. It's out of compassion, right? Compassion is just compassion. It's not compassion for this or that, it's simply compassion. Something would have to say, okay, this isn't working. And that's the heart. And so those of you who, the heart isn't, those of you who are in the heart resonance, there's no choice to be, there's no anger, it's compassion, but it's also highest level of intelligence. There's no choice to say, oh yeah, this is good and that's bad and this is good, because the body dies, the head dies, the head dies, the body dies. It's just the same thing. Actually, although I've shown the layers, I've shown here the intellectual division. In reality, in 3D reality, in electrical current flow, there is no division between all of these. The body, the heart, and the mind, or the psyche, or the intellect, or the elite, which I'll go into later. It's not an elite, it's something else, but it's been corrupted. But then you corrupt the head, you corrupt the body. See, it's complex, but I hope that makes sense.